You're watching this week's News You Can Use Video Digest.
The Los Angeles City Ethics Commission announced the annual adjustments to campaign contribution limits, increasing allowable per-person contributions for mayoral, city attorney, and controller elections, but not for city council elections. The amounts apply to city elections in which the primary election fundraising window opens after March 1st. On March 1st, a bipartisan bill was introduced in the U.S. Senate to amend the Foreign Agents Registration Act. Included in the bill is the creation of an enforcement unit in the National Security Division and updates to civil and criminal enforcement procedures. The legislation also creates a definition for the term operative of a foreign government and would call for self-identification of registered individuals when meeting with members of Congress or their staff. A North Carolina Superior Court three-judge panel kept in place the recently merged bipartisan State Board of Elections and Ethics Enforcement, but voided a portion of the law regulating how members would be appointed to the board. Governor Cooper has filed a motion with the North Carolina Supreme Court challenging the three-judge panel's decision and seeking clarity regarding the scope of the Supreme Court's January holding. In Sessions and Elections news, the Louisiana legislature adjourned a special legislative session on the state's budget crisis after being unable to reach a deal to close the state's $994 million budget shortfall. The state's regularly scheduled legislative session will convene on March 12th and is scheduled to end by June 4th. Governor John Bel Edwards stated his hope for the regular session to end early to allow the legislature to remedy the budget shortfall in the second special session, as tax bills cannot be considered during a regular session. On March 3rd, the Oregon legislature adjourned its biennial short session, passing bills to strengthen domestic violence laws, create a task force to study opioid addiction treatment barriers and implement a peer support program, require more transparency from drug prescription manufacturers, and eliminate a federal deduction for business on state tax returns. Governor Brown has 30 days to sign, veto, or let the bills become law without her signature. And Utah Governor Gary Herbert signed House Bill 20, amending parts of the state's election code, modifying provisions related to filing a State Board of Education candidate vacancy and a State Board of Education office vacancy. The bill also addresses the handling of and access to a financial disclosure form filed by a candidate, shortens the deadline for a filing officer to forward a financial disclosure form to the lieutenant governor in certain situations, and includes a clarification of the definition of expenditure under the Lobbyist Disclosure and Regulation Act.
That's all the news we have for this week. Be sure to visit our blog, lobbycomply.com, for all your government relations news, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. I'm John Spontarelli, and for all of us here at State and Federal Communications, we'll see you next week.